Here you go, here you go. We actually been driving for a little bit. It is fall time. We've been fishing a bunch. We got our new Arsenal hat. Thanks to Dan and Trey and everybody over there for the order. We're on our way to Mille. Sick of watching all the dang videos and photos and everything, everybody smashing on them. So we had an inner debate this morning about largemouth or smallmouth. And we've always just done the Mille deal. We're gonna go out there and we've been practicing our scoping bite for the last little bit. Just I've been scoping for quite some time, but I've never dedicated just time, and I've spent a bunch of that this fall catching some decent fish. But I think that's what we're gonna do, depending on the wind. The normal Mille weather is going on, so we're gonna keep driving here and hopefully show you some fish catches in a little bit to the water. And in normal Mille fashion, I ran out to where it should have been calm. And as you can see, it was windy. I just wasn't gonna mess with that for the day to start off the day. We couldn't do what we wanted to, just on an old wintering spot that I got. So I ended up running down lake, trying to find calmer waters, but it was still rolling pretty good. So I knew it was gonna be a pretty interesting day. We actually saw quite a few fish on the scope, and they just weren't reacting. So that was super unfortunate. We ran a bunch of places trying to get them to go, and it just was not happening until this one. And for some reason, I thought the camera was off, turned it on, didn't happen. But I found a bunch of fish on the end of this point on the south end, a reef on the south end. There's a number of boats down there with the way the wind was too. So that was unfortunate, but a couple big rocks, you could see them on the graph, just throwing a drop shot, and it seemed to work the best to get stuff to react. Fishing pretty deep. It's definitely not easy out here. Man, what a disappointing day. You can see the people to the right of me live bait fishing. We're catching quite a few of the smallmouth that were there, but they were not reacting to what I had going on. So super disappointing day, especially with the wind, since it was supposed to be calm. We actually ran quite a few spots and we just couldn't figure it out. Wow, here we are. That didn't go as planned. We only caught those two fish. I think I accidentally hit the GoPro camera off on the one. As you can see, super windy. Classic Mille. It changed, supposed to be from the southeast. Also knows the windiest in the southeast, and where I launched up at Liberty Beach was calm coming back in, but I didn't show you anything at the end. We were going to one last spot at about 4 o'clock, and we're coming across the lake, and all we did was getting waves over the side, and I got completely drenched. I was not in a good mood. I was cold. Tough day of fishing. We actually saw quite a few fish out on a couple of reefs, but with the wind the way it was going, there was a bunch of people down on the south end, and I actually saw a lot of fish. I saw people catching some fish rolling with sucker minnows or catching a bunch of the smallies that I was seeing, but for reacting and stuff like that, it just did not work out. Tough day. Drove back on with the heat completely full blast. Luckily, I always have a spare pants for work, so that sucked, but we looked around, we graphed some, and we just did not get on what we wanted to do. We spent some time just looking for fish. And I saw quite a few fish, but they were not about it. So that was Mille. We're going here to a local lake that I usually fish here in the fall, and hopefully go and catch some largemouth after getting my butt kicked on Mille. It's actually blown even harder today, so I think things are changing a little bit, and hopefully this lake that I'm going to used to be really good, and it's gradually coming down. Last year was really bad, I thought, so hopefully we can catch a couple and have a good day and go have some fun. So more next. Well, we made it to the lake. Unfortunately, we forgot our GoPro at the home, but we're just gonna start off here. White chatterbait, just up along a couple flats right here. See if we can get some bites and what's going on. Water temperature's 59 degrees, and fish probably not the way that I usually like to fish them out here. Just fishing some last remaining weeds, but we're gonna start up on the flats and see what we can do from there. Well, here we are an hour in. We tried shallow for a while. We finally went out to this little sunken boat dock out here. Not big, but it's a fish. Looks like there's a couple more down there. Just throwing the jig. Hopefully we can catch a couple more, but questionable how the day is gonna go right now. And now we're just going with the scope, except we're catching crappies. Look at that, that's another one. Solid 9.5 incher. Well, we had been struggling, scoping, catching crappies. We missed one on a dock. Switched over to just a swim jig, trying to fish up shallow real quick to see if I'm missing something or if this lake's just done. But got this little guy quick. We're gonna stick with it. Choked. Took a minute. It's a solid one though. Just started falling out at this point. A little bit of rocks on there. It's a solid 3-pounder. It's actually really cool colors, if you can see that. Yeah, boy. Yeah. So yeah, just tossing this little crankbait. Crushed it. Just another weed one. Look how dark that one is. Not big, but it's another one. Well, that was a fun little morning session. Not quite what we wanted. Quite a few small fish, but it was good. It was fun. We caught quite a few fish in the end, just no real big ones, which is usually why I go to that lake, especially in the fall. Might have to give it a couple more years, but just getting better at the scope, catching crappies, stuff like that. So fun little morning. You saw we ended up catching almost all of ours creek at the end, and just never saw too many out away from the weeds. So thanks for watching. A lot of fall left. Catch you next time.